Hi, everybody. It's Carnie Wilson here on Hot Flashes and Cool Topics.
Welcome to Hot Flashes and Cool Topics, a podcast for women in midlife and beyond. At Hot Flashes and Cool Topics, we talk about anything and everything to do with midlife. My name is Bridget.
And I'm Colleen.
And oh my goodness,
Woohoo, drum roll, drum roll.
Are so excited today because we are talking to Carnie Wilson. And I know a lot of you know her from so many things. Of course, Wilson Phillips. And also she's on the talk. She's had her own talk show. She has a shop, a bakery shop in Oregon.
Yeah, she's a baker.
She's a baker, Love Bites. And you can go online and you can order these delicious cookies, and she does cheesecakes, and she does just really wonderful stuff. And the great thing, those cookies are like individually wrapped.
Yes.
Smaller bites. So, if you're someone like me and you dig your whole hand in,
like an M&M's bag, but
yeah,
it's not like
but
that.
No, you've got to put in a little extra effort and open that.
You have to start counting the packages.
And then if you see those wrappers standing there, or standing, they're not
yes,
standing.
They're dancing like the raisins from California.
Yeah, they're just standing, lying there. Then you kind of count, but then you still can have something. If you're just wanting something sweet, it's not humongous,
Right. Unless you order one of the cheesecakes in there.
Unless you order cheesecake.
And she talks about it. She talks about how the business has kind of been put on hold because of dry ice. Who knew dry ice was...
Well, she can still ship, but she can't ship the cheesecakes. Yeah.
Right, because there's a shortage of dry ice. Of all the things to worry about in COVID,
what?
Dry ice, you'd think people would have time to figure out that problem.
No, they got the toilet paper, but then I hear
that's
that
but that's getting shortage too.
I know, I heard that again. I'm like, what's going on?
Starting to number the toilet paper. But back to Carnie. Carnie is sorry, we got distracted.
We did.
Carnie is just a ball of wonderful energy.
Yes.
She is generous in her spirit, and she is generous in her stories and her time, because of course we talk about time like we always end up doing. But wow, what a down-to-earth, fun, like wonderful person. It's just that's how I would describe her. She'd just be like your friend, like you go have coffee with her.
And how incredible, that she's been famous since she was born. She has been. So she's had to live with that since she was born. Right. And it's amazing. It's just, I have to hand it to her mother, what an incredible daughter she's raised, because she's so down to earth.
Really is.
Because
we always ask if there's anything that, someone may feel uncomfortable talking about before we start. And she was, for the most part, we get, nope, open book. But she really meant it. Open book.
Yeah, she meant it. And I would totally understand if there was something that someone didn't want to share. Anyway,
right, exactly.
I totally get that. You've got to be ready yourself. But it just sounds like she's a wonderful mother, loves her family so much, wonderful daughter, wonderful sister, but
And then I felt like we disconnected. I was like, oh, but I didn't ask her about this, but I didn't ask her about that. So hopefully she will come back on again maybe next year. And chat with us again.
It just was a great conversation. So excited for her to start this whole thing that she always loved to do, and the way she got started, and her partner Tiffany that started the baking business with her, which is so amazing to me, because I asked her, I said, you have these ideas, but where do you go next? Like, I don't even know who to go to,
and she tells us, but she does.
Yeah, she tells us how she did that. Yeah. So it's so amazing.
To the powers that be that run the talk show, The Talk, what is the problem? Okay. She would make a great co-host. She's funny. She's smart. When she's on there, she fits right in. What is the problem? You have 2 openings. Do we need to tweet somebody? How can we make this happen? Because I think what a great addition to the show she would make.
Oh, I know. I mean, I've been, when Wilson Phillips started, of course, we love that song. And it just, whenever I've seen her on talk shows or anything, she just immediately feels like somebody so easy to talk to and funny. And it's just like, oh, there's my friend. Right, even if,
exactly.
and so I don't know why, because every time I've ever seen her on shows, I've always really loved her. So I don't know what's going on.
We're
Yeah.
just saying it's something to think about for the new year. That's all.
Yes, that's it. Yeah.
And now we're going to let Carnie take over. Hold on. Welcome back to Hot Flashes and Cool Topics, everybody. Are you ready? We have Carnie Wilson on the show. Bridget and I are so excited. Welcome, Carnie. Thank you for taking the time to talk to us today.
Thank you for having me.
You obviously were a singer in Wilson Phillips, and you've also been a TV show personality, but not a lot of people know you're a baker.
Mm-hmm.
And
Yeah.
you have Love Bites by Carnie, which I'm just going to show in the video. I happen to have a bag right
I
here.
know.
Oh, it's so great.
And
that's great.
What got you started in doing that?
Well, let's see. About 15 and a half years ago, I got sober and I needed something to do. I can be anxious. My personality type, it can be really anxious, and that I need to occupy my mind because, that's the type of person I am. So I always cooked and I baked a little bit. My grandma was a good baker and a great cook. And I just started making cheesecakes and bread puddings, and I was making them like a lot. And I just found that people were enjoying the food, and I was actually bringing the food to the AA meetings. Believe it or not, I took the food commitment. And but the funniest thing is this is very funny. Funny story. The first bread pudding I ever made, I thought that the drunks or the ex-drunks would like the flavor of rum. So I put rum extract and a lot of rum extract into the bread pudding, and it tasted like pure alcohol. And my sponsor said, "You can't serve this to these people." And I'm like, "Why? They'll actually like it, So it turns out I didn't serve it, but I started baking a lot for people. And then when I saw people's reaction, I was like, maybe I'm pretty good at this. And then it just one thing, started evolving, and the concept of little is really like the main focus here. Is just bite size.
I'm going to take these out. I love the fact that they're individually wrapped. Like that to me is awesome.
So smart.
You could just throw them in your purse. You can throw them in a child's lunchbox, whatever. But we were talking off air that it kind of makes you feel like a little accountable.
Yeah, it does.
What you're eating.
It sure does. Yeah, I was saying, it's you're more mindful about, okay, I'm unwrapping one, now I'm wrapping two, and for me, the little guilt trip starts creeping in there. Oh, you want another one? Oh, you want another one? What else is new? Food has talked to me for 50 years, but I think this is a very good message for people, and a good sort of exercise, not to sort of like command people like you need more control, but we kind of do.
Yeah.
We kind of do. And without the shame attached, and without somebody going, it's like, I don't want someone to tell me you're not okay if you eat dessert. I'm not, and that makes me want to get mad at them, and then I rebel.
And then I want to eat all the dessert. Yeah.
So I feel like maybe it's just, okay, I'm not going to give it up, but I'll have less. And so I want to make that easier for people. And of course, the absolute most delicious stuff. Everything's made by hand right now. That will change once we launch grocery. Then we're partially automated, but then you get the big machines that come out and can make 100,000 at a time. But we're making 5,000 cookies at a time, 10,000 cookies. It's a lot of cookies. So
wow,
they're made by hand and they're delicious. And
they are.
There's a lot of products. Cheesecakes are on hold because there's a dry ice shortage around the country.
Wow.
Really?
We're in frickin'. I said frickin'.
You could say frickin'.
We're in COVID, 2020, weirdest year in the history of life. So, one challenge after the other. But, we're a small business technically, and we're hanging in there. And I'm very appreciative for the support that we've gotten.
Oh, wow.
That's awesome.
So, I was just going to say, how do you even, when you have this idea, how do you even go about finding out how to do it? You start it with bacon in your home, and it's like, I wouldn't know what to do next after that. How did you figure out what to do next?
It's a good question. And well, I called my best friend. We've known each other since we're 7 years old, and went to grammar school together. We were the thumb suckers of first grade. Me and Tiffany, we were the thumb suckers, and she's had restaurants and businesses. Her family, they're really successful, and I had not a clue. I just had a vision of small desserts, lots of recipes, and a passion.
Mhm.
And it took a long time, but we formed Love Bites. She lives in Oregon, and that's why it's there. Plus, it's less expensive to have a business
Oh,
in Oregon than it
yeah.
is California. And
Mhm.
I fought her about it. I said, please, please, let's do it here. And, because we have a very big facility, it's almost 20,000 square feet. So we've got the cafe in the front and the bakery in the front. We've got the offices in the middle, and the production is behind. And it's constantly going, but I wanted to be there every day so that I can maybe have scones one day, or biscuits one day, or so the cafe is kind of a different beast, if you will, than the website or the big shipping. We made 2.5 million cheesecakes last year for a very big market chain, and they asked us to do it again, but we couldn't because of COVID. It's so
Wow.
upsetting,
Mhm.
really upsetting. But it required a lot of people, and it was expensive. And but at least we know what we have and what we can do.
Mhm.
So it's quite wonderful. But we'll see what happens. But back to I got off track.
That's okay.
I back to the question. I think that research is critical, and really seeing what's realistic, and knowing that startups have setbacks, and startups have hiccups and hurdles and huge disappointments, and it's like one step forward, two steps back, two steps forward, it's like a nightmare sometimes. But I think that because my partner and I are very driven, we're a women-owned business, we set goals, and we achieved some of them, and then we didn't achieve others. And I think it's about staying realistic, and really surrounding yourself with people that everybody respects each other, your communication is great, and not putting the cart before the horse, or setting yourselves up for failure. Really taking your time to plot out what's realistic here. It's okay to start small. I'm a very big, grandiose, bubbling, ready to burst any minute type of personality. So I want more, and I want it all like yesterday.
Yeah.
There's the addict in me, I want it all now. So my partner, it's great that we bounce things off each other. And I think it's very important for people, you can't do a business by yourself. I mean, you can have a stationary business by yourself if you're off, but it takes a village of people, hearts, minds, personalities,
Mhm.
um, to really come together and have sort of this joint effort and common goal, and knowing that people, it really is important. You see people, they get fired, they get hired, you let go of this person, you hire that person, their qualifications, this one. There's so much to consider. God,
Yeah. Yeah, yeah.
but you can't give up. Just got to keep mean that I'm a failure. If Love Bites winds up not working out in the future, I'm not a
Mhm.
failure. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
Like, I got my passion, I got my heart, and people are starting to taste it and like it. So the momentum is building,
Mhm.
and that's all I can say for today.
But
Right.
always, I feel like it's an adventure. Like, I feel like, especially this time in our lives, we're all about the same age,
Yes.
and it's like it's not a failure, and you have this time in your life to do these things, and I think it's an adventure. I think it's fabulous. But it does. I'm listening to, when I start thinking about the firing and the hiring and I'm like, oh yeah, that's a lot of work. Yeah,
Hardcore. It's really
yeah.
hardcore. It's really
Hmm.
hardcore. But I have my partner, Tiffany, is, oh God, she's my best friend. So that's,
Yeah.
and it's hard because we don't really have disagreements. It's just, I think that, sometimes the way we approach things, is a little different. And
Mhm.
I have to sort of calm her down. She has to calm me down. I pump her up. She pumps me up. But we're human, we're not a piece of wood. We're not an
Mhm.
instrument. We're human.
Mhm.
And I just think going through the ebbs and flows of life. And, I'm 52. She's 52. She's going through menopause. I don't know what I am. I have my period comes every month. I don't even know what's going
So
on.
does Colleen.
Story of our lives. I'm Perry
Yeah.
and she's post. So there.
Yeah.
Ugh. I'm Larry Moe and Curly at this point. I don't even know what I am. I am honestly, it's just
It's annoying, isn't it, when you get to the stage where you're jealous of other people who are in menopause or finished?
uh-huh.
I'm like, come on, really? Every month I'm like, seriously?
Really, it's like clockwork still. But you know what? What are the hot flashes at night then? What does that mean?
You're
night
in
sweats.
Perry. You are in
I
Perry.
have to be Perry.
Yeah, you are in Perry. That means you're
It's
Mhm.
like 3 and 4 o'clock in the morning.
Oh yeah, drenched,
That's when it
drenched.
comes.
Mhm.
yeah. We've
Yeah.
got suggestions for you on that.
Okay, good. But I just want to know, it's also like, do you get where kind of like you feel like it's burning, sizzling inside? Like it comes in surges and waves?
Yes.
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 Okay.
Yes.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Totally
Yes.
normal.
Yeah,
By
and
the way,
your hair's drenched and everything. Yeah.
Yeah.
well, see, I don't sweat like
Oh,
that.
I do.
I
Oh.
sweat above the lip and maybe like my lower back, but I
Oh.
get the covers off me and I go, ah! And I
Yeah.
just put my hair, and I go like that and I go, okay, it's gonna pass. But
Then you're freezing cold in your pajamas all over you.
oh,
Oh,
right.
I just hit my microphone. Yeah.
Yes. Because then you're drenched and it gets
Yeah.
cold.
Yes.
Then you're in
Yeah.
that cold sweat after. It's great. And then you're all the while trying not to wake up your partner. You're trying to like slide out of bed. I literally keep extra pajamas next to the bed. I have a fan by the bed. My poor
Right.
husband's ready to freeze.
That's so funny.
Yeah. And you know what? You got to do what you got to do.
Gotta do what you gotta do.
Yeah.
Right.
Mhm.
And I love what you were saying about your business, because we talk to a lot of women about changing your careers as we
Yeah.
get older. And there are people that believe, well, you're 50, you can't really change your career. Like you can't do a next adventure. Should I do it? Of course you can. You can do
Oh,
anything you want to do. And it's
Mhm.
almost, we say kind of, because you're not up on like everybody watching what you're doing, it's kind of a superpower. You can fly under the radar and then all of a sudden, bam, here you are. It's kind of like our podcast. We were like, oh, we'll see what happens. And then we
right.
were, oh, wow, okay.
Good.
Put on that seatbelt and let's take the ride.
Yeah.
There's your example of, I mean, I think we can do anything we set our minds, to do.
Mhm.
You definitely, I think it's better to start later in life, actually, because you've got to live and experience and, go through disappointments. And I mean, it's so funny because I've just been I have so many different careers,
Right.
that sometimes, and this is a very like Zen, kind of a solitude thing in me, where I know we all kind of self-examine a little bit, and I'm usually an open book, and I have been. I mean, I've written books, I've shared stories about weight and this and that, but there is that real spiritual part of me that kind of looks inside, and once in a while, and I kind of take a pulse on it, and I go, how am I really doing here? Do I feel right in this world right now? Do I feel good about myself? Do I feel like I'm giving my family what they need? Am I helping people out there? And it's interesting because I was raised by mainly my mother. My dad was just not there. And mom is very spiritual as well, not religious, but very into karma. And she would always say to me, be good to other people and kind to other people, and good things will happen to you, and always believe in yourself. So, when we talk about starting a career or whatever, I think there's so many people that have, first of all, hidden talents that they don't know, or they know it about themselves, but they don't feel worthy of it, or they're too embarrassed or shy to share it, or there's something that just holds them back from kind of like taking the leap.
Mhm.
And that's a
Mhm.
big thing, because I believe that all the stuff I've been through, and part of that is like walking out on the stage in front of 100,000 people. I've done that, where
Mhm.
I've many times walked out, and I look out and I see that crowd and I go, oh my God, there's so many people out there. And all of a sudden there's this voice that says, just get out there and do it.
Wow.
And I don't know how, it's a blessing to
Mhm.
have that voice. I don't know where that comes from, but
Yeah.
because I've done that, I think that same little voice, you know, speaks to me a lot and says, okay, you didn't sell as many books as you wanted to. You, you had a voiceover job with Vaughn's as the voice lady, and you had it for 4 years, and now it's gone. Okay, it's gone. It was great. Now it's gone. Let's go to the next thing. I can't look at the stuff that either almost made it and didn't, or it made it, now it's gone, and feel empty after that. I have to feel like there's a cup, and I can constantly pour into that cup. There's abundance. Abundance. It's a word that I remember Marianne Williamson. I never really read her books or even heard her lecture, but I heard little snippets. And I love that word abundance because she uses that. I really believe it's important to believe that there is opportunity and abundance out there. It's not necessarily monetary. It's not necessarily monetary. Money will follow success, but success is setting your goal, believing, seeing your vision, feeling your vision, setting your goal, going for that goal, and then seeing what happens. To me, that's real success.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Personal success.
Right. Because I could, the voice, you said you hear the voice saying, just get out there.
Right.
And I know so many people that keep hearing other like a voice that, or even past voices from people saying, oh, you really can't do that. I mean, I loved my mother. She's passed away. She was a wonderfully nice person, but she hated to see us disappointed.
Yeah.
So she would be like, I don't know if you can do that. Like,
Yes,
oh,
right.
they're going to tell you that you're not going to be able to get into.
But it was
that
with
school.
love. But
Yes,
it's
absolutely.
damaging. But it's damaging.
It is. It is.
I get it.
Yeah. And so now I feel like now at this age, and believe me, I think everybody knows how much I love my mother, but
Of course.
yeah, it just now it's like there's less risk, and we're not really trying to impress anybody. We just want to be happy.
Yeah, we don't really care what other people think.
We really want to help people, just like you do. And
that's good.
And so I think that is such an important thing. But I love that you said your voice just is like, just get out there and do it.
Yeah,
that is great.
It's hard for people to do that.
Yes,
because it's there's fear behind it.
Right.
There's the fear of sort of that. Well, what if it doesn't happen? If I decide to go for something, what happens if it doesn't happen? Then what's going to happen to me? Or what are people going to think of me? How am I going to feel about that? First of all, feelings pass. And you're right. Other people's opinions really don't, at the end of the day, it's how do you feel about what you've done? I remember after our first record, this is a good example. We sold a lot of records. The first record, it was like over 10 million worldwide. And then the second album came out and we had sold 3 million worldwide. And then the group disbanded. China went to do a solo thing and we were, going, what do we do now? Okay, we'll make a Christmas record. But I remember the president of the company, this man, Charles Koppelman, he said, you failed. You failed us. And you sold 3 million records, and that first record sold over 10, and therefore you failed us. This is verbatim. And I remember sitting out on my patio outside and hearing this and going, what? We just worked our tails off to promote a second record. We're exhausted. Yes, it's a blessing. Yes, we're lucky to do it. Okay, but 3 million records, forget selling that amount today. It's practically, unless you're Taylor Swift or, Justin Timberlake or Beyonce or whatever. But, no, we were not failures. But
no.
My goodness. But it's just it's a hard thing because failure, really, I think that we need to be the measure of our own failure. And then again, I don't want to tap into that. I know that I can sit there and go, okay, I'm a failure again today with the diet. I prayed this morning when I got up, please God, help me eat more healthy today. I had a piece of pound cake.
Yeah.
We're not perfect.
No.
And we just got to try. We just got to try.
Absolutely. And I'm just like sitting here, you had to be so young when he said that to you all. And you've had to be like early 20s or
Yep,
something.
23.
Because I think we're the same age. And I'm like, you were just a baby. I mean, you were to have this
I know.
businessman say this to you.
Yeah.
And we just don't know what people in the entertainment business go through, like all the things they have to go through. And then it's like, okay, get on stage, you
Right.
know?
And that kind of like leads to the question, what was it like in the late 80s, early 90s to be a female group in the music industry?
Well, it was fabulous because I feel like we came around at the right time and there was something, it was sort of I don't know if there was an open slot, but there was definitely the harmonies and the sound and the songs. I think they really sort of resonated with people and they still do.
Yes.
Oh, absolutely.
You know, we can talk about that. It's amazing, wow. I always say that, I feel like our songs, they have strong legs, they have good muscular legs and they hold up because I think people are, life can be hard and I know music inspires me.
Mm-hmm.
Music inspires me and it brings out a lot of emotion. So I remember, feeling that way when I was younger, being very appreciative of the fans. And my sister and I used to open fan letters and just call random people that would say, I know you'd never call me, but here's my number. We would go, hi, is Mary home? It's Carnie Wendy from Wilson Phillips. And they would go, no, it's not. And we'd say, well, how do we get your number then? How do we get your number? It's right here. You wrote the letter, and people would go crazy because we've always appreciated that people have, that they spent their money to buy the records to do that. But I think, more now because you don't really sell a lot of records. It's really more about streaming and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
And we still, have people streaming the music, but for the last 8 years, it's been about going on stage and singing live and, watching and interacting with the audience. So back then it was a lot of hard work going to radio stations, a lot of hard work flying from city to city. It's not like that anymore. So it's really different now. Social media is, probably 75% of your advertising. So, and your promoting. So, we went on Kelly Clarkson at the beginning of the year. It was really fun. We got to sing Hold On with her. I almost died.
What was that like? What was that
Oh
like?
my God.
Oh.
Well, I don't know what to say. I could barely, I was like, okay, I don't know if I want to barf or fart or what. I was beside myself.
Oh,
But I
wow.
brought little lemon cakes on the show and she ate one.
I'm sure.
Lemon,
But she probably felt the same way about you.
Oh,
I bet she did.
she was a fan and I didn't know. And she loves Hold On and we sang it with her. It was great. It was a great moment. So, I'm appreciative 30 years later. It's 30 years. It's been 30 years.
Yeah. And you have a whole nother group of kids because when my daughter saw Bridesmaids,
Right.
I told her she's 25. And I told her I was going to be talking to you. And she was like, oh my gosh, from Bridesmaids. And I'm like, yeah.
You're like, sure, that's where it's from.
I mean, that's like
so funny. Right. I know. Because we're like, all right, well, that was, let's see, that was Color Me Bad. It was Mariah Carey. And, I mean, Vogue, Vogue was on the radio.
Right.
I mean, I remember this was really a trip. Hold On knocked Vogue out of the #1 spot.
Wow.
Seriously?
I'm like, I'm never gonna get over that. That's something I'll toot my little horn for that one.
Oh yeah. I was in college. I was a senior in college, and it was like, that was like the theme.
I can only attest that Hold On got me through the first year of law school. Because every time I was like, I do not want to do this, I'd be like, singing it in my head, just hold on for one more day.
I know.
Yeah.
Well, but that's great to hear. And something that happened. Oh my God. I posted this thing on my Instagram, Did you see it? I don't know if you follow it.
I do follow.
I
follow. Did
you see from the Nurse Maggie, what I posted?
What was that? Nurse Maggie.
Oh boy.
Was this a few days ago? When was this?
It was a couple days ago.
Okay.
And we got a letter from a nurse. Her name is Maggie. And she wrote this letter saying that she's a traveling COVID nurse.
I think I did.
She she's been in the rooms in the intensive care
Mhm.
units, and she's been uh, holding patients' hands who die from COVID. And a lot of the patients, she noticed that they like when she sings to them. And she said that she's not a great singer, but that Hold On was a karaoke song that she sang. And she decided to um, sing Hold On to a patient that she said that just that day or yesterday, the day before that, she sang Hold On to a patient and watched him take his last breath as she was saying Hold On.
I've
And
read that. Yes.
Yes, I just pulled it up. That is okay.
Mhm.
it took me a long time to get over that. Actually, I'll never get over it.
Right.
But that is so powerful.
Right.
Yeah.
And
Absolutely.
Because
what
that's all he had. That's all he had was
what
her.
do you even
Yeah.
say? And
Yeah.
it's like the mixture of her selflessness and that incredible the strength to even hold someone's hand that is alone,
Right.
with no family and going through this, and then that song and
Hmm.
how meaningful it is, and then just all of it. It just is too much.
I
To
know.
know
I
that you
know.
kind of were there as a small part of it to make that person's passing a
Yeah.
little bit easier.
I mean,
Yeah.
I don't know. I hope so. I just know
Yeah.
that
Mm.
she's
It's
an angel. She's a walking angel on this earth.
yeah. Because I remember reading, she said I'd usually just read like or sing "Row, row, row your boat,"
That's
and
right.
then she said, "I'm just going to sing this anyway."
Oh,
I did. I
And then
was
to
crying.
share it with
I was
you
crying.
was
Yeah.
very,
I know.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
did write her. I wrote her a little letter back. I told her that. I said, I'm just paraphrasing, but I said that I would really love to take her to lunch one day, and I would love to hear her COVID stories. And I said, I
Hmm.
know that sounds weird, but I'm sure that there are some good stories as well that people recover and they get out of the hospital. And I know there's a lot that don't, but that's the closest I'm going to get to her experience is that, and I also believe that it's so important that when we go through trauma to talk about it.
Hmm.
And not that I want to be her therapist or should even recommend what she does or how she'll even be able to process this stuff.
right.
But I thought, what if I took her to lunch one day and just said, what was that like? And
Hmm.
tell me about different patients and tell me about things. She might say, I don't want to, I don't want to relive it,
Right.
but I'm happy we're here. Or she might say, well, let me tell you.
Hmm.
I don't know. I wanted to put that out there for her.
Right. I agree that sometimes talking about different things, and like you said too, I'm not a licensed therapist, but
Right.
bringing it out there, and this is just like another point when someone shared. I think recently when Chrissy Teigen and John Legend lost their
Yes.
child,
Yes.
Mhm.
and she put the photos up of her in the hospital room, and at first my husband said, "Oh, did she share that?" And I said, "Well, I think it's important she shared that because a lot of people don't acknowledge
Right.
that when a woman loses a child or family loses a child, even if they were stillborn or miscarriage, they don't acknowledge that as a loss." And I said, "When you saw those photos, that was a loss, and you understand that loss." So but it's up to the person, the individual, to decide if they want to share that loss. And I just felt like some of these sharing of things, I think you just kind of connect more with these people and what they're going through.
I know what you're
Mm.
saying.
Yeah.
I really admire her.
Hmm.
I admire her. She's funny. She's out there because she's very real. She's very
Hmm.
free. She's
Mhm.
very free. I really love that about her. She's free. She just says and does what she wants, and I think it's wonderful.
Hmm.
And
Right.
it was very heartbreaking to see. And I tapped into it because uh,
Oh,
I had a miscarriage as well. Um,
oh,
I believe I had a miscarriage once, and I had to do a DNC because they have to
Right.
hmm,
clean it out or whatever. And then I also believe that I lost a twin with my first daughter, Lola. I believe that I lost a twin at 8 weeks of the pregnancy. And I've had my own kind of, grieving about that. But
Mhm.
and this is like a whole other conversation, but I'm very, very, very in tune with spirits and the spirit world. And I always have been. And I don't know. I've tapped into this one spirit that from the first miscarriage, And I don't know, I felt the spirit one night next to my bed, and it freaked me out. And I was with my daughter, and I just started bawling, crying. And it was like, I don't know what I felt, but it was like a voice was saying, I'm the boy that you didn't have.
Oh.
And I'm 35 years old, and I'm here, and I'm okay. And that's what I heard. And I just was like, I didn't hear anyone talk to me. I didn't hear, and I started crying, and I had to kind of explain to Lucy what was going on, but I did it gently and carefully.
Mm-hmm.
But
Mm-hmm.
my kids are very, very spiritual as well,
Mm-hmm.
and we're very in tune together. So I share a lot with them. They're really great kids. They're
Mm-hmm.
really great kids.
I
But
heard your daughter singing the other day.
oh my
Lola
God.
was singing. Yes. Yeah.
Oh, she's gonna
Yeah.
have her first singing lesson on Sunday. This opera coach is gonna a singing coach. She does opera and like show tunes. I'm
Oh,
so excited.
wow.
Wow.
It'll be
Wow.
great. It'll be
Oh
great.
man.
But
Wow.
Well,
yeah,
she's got it in her genes, so there you
Yeah.
sure
go.
does. I mean, she's got it all over the place. It's kind of
Yeah.
And Lucy sings too, my younger one, but she's really, really shy. Lola's
Uh-huh.
shy too, but Lucy's really shy.
Oh wow.
How has
Wow.
it been different raising your two daughters in comparison to how you were raised with your sister? Because it's so different.
Oh God, is it different?
Mhm.
Whoa, is it different? But it's funny because like the kind of the external stuff is different, but my mom and I, it's kind of like passing the baton a little bit.
Mhm.
I feel like I try to be like my mom, and then I feel like my older daughter now, because when you get 13, 14, 15, you start forming opinions. You know what I
Oh,
mean?
yes. Remember those days. Yes.
Right? You start forming opinions. You start feeling hormones, and stuff happens, and you start feeling more emotional about things. And I think that now I notice myself being a lot like my mom, and my daughter tries to kind of like, I hear her talk like me, or like the philosophy, or like my philosophy is do good to others, or whatever it is. And she's the same way, and so it's very sweet, but there's things I hate. I hate certain things. I hate technology. I hate it.
Mhm.
I think it is the biggest, it gets in the way of so much. It makes it so challenging to keep us in our feet and where we are right now and in the moment. It
Mhm.
just takes us out of the moment. And so I really try, and I'm not great at it, but we're trying. Dinner
Mhm.
table, no way. Phones, no way.
Mhm.
No.
Mhm.
We're riding in the car, which is rare, but we go to the
Right.
store. Sometimes we just take a drive because I like to drive. So and in the beginning of the pandemic, we were taking drives every single day. We would go for a walk and we would take a drive. And
Okay.
so I would say, no phones, just look outside the window. Just look, and I'd say, look at this, look how that's boarded up. Oh, look at, they're still in business. Oh, look at those people walking. Just life.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So it's really hard. That's a hard part. And the online school thing right now is horrible,
Mhm.
especially when our internet is so crappy. Lucy's struggling a little bit. Lola's amazing. She's whatever. She's always been straight A, whatever. Lucy, and I don't crack the whip like a psycho. I just
Right.
want them to try. I just want them to try. And they're
Mhm.
both doing great. They're both great kids.
Mhm.
I have wonderful children.
Oh, that's awesome.
And Rob and I are usually on the same page with stuff. He's very different, like personality wise, but our hearts are the same.
Mhm.
Mm-hmm.
And
Okay.
so, I mean, there's a lot of stuff swirling around us right now. The last month, I had more anxiety probably than I ever had in my life with the election and everything. I just,
Oh, yeah.
Ugh,
I think a
I
lot
know.
of people really, it was just became too much. It just was
It
too much.
did.
it
Yeah.
became too much.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Overload.
Yeah.
It did. And I'm sober, so I don't have the ability to like, have a glass of wine or
Right.
Right.
puff off a joint or take a pill.
I know.
I don't do anything. The only
Yeah.
thing I do is take a melatonin once in a while. I take a little
Okay.
10 milligram melatonin, and that sometimes helps me sleep a little more soundly. And that's it.
Mhm.
But so
Yeah.
what do I have? I can take a walk. I can take a bath. I bake.
Mhm.
We dance and sing and play music every single day.
Oh,
There
that's
is a
great.
lot of laughter, no matter what's going on. I believe that we have to dance and sing and laugh with our children. That's what I do. And they do it naturally. So, I get wacky and crazy. And I
And
mean,
look at the memories they're going to have,
Right.
I know, I know.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
they've seen me struggle. They've seen me lose jobs. They've
Mhm.
seen me, struggle with certain things. They see me struggle with weight. They see me with that stuff. And they also see me pick myself back up.
Mhm.
Like I'm waiting. I just did like a bunch of auditions. I'm waiting for this huge car company if I got
Mhm.
the voiceover job, so I'm like,
Right.
okay, God, is this your will? Because it's your will, not mine. you
Mhm.
know
Right.
and they see me be spiritual about it, and I think it's teaching them good stuff.
Yeah.
You got to put it in God's hands. I know I do.
Mhm.
Right.
Because I want results now.
Yeah. When you were saying how
Yeah.
you wanted it
I
yesterday, I'm like,
understand
oh,
that.
that's me too.
I know, right?
Yeah.
That's so true.
Yes.
But
But
it's different when you have your kids watching. When you're
Mhm.
making decisions and it just affects you, it's one thing. But when your kids are, and I have 2 daughters too, so I get it.
oh,
Every decision I stopped practicing law because I hated it, and and my kids were much younger. I didn't want them to see me miserable every day going to work. It's not what
yeah,
I wanted them to see. And
yeah,
so it's a different ball game when little eyes are watching.
it really is.
Mhm.
It
Mhm.
really, really is. I mean, oh God. um yeah, today is like an emotional day for me. I had something happen today that is really intense. At least it was for me.
Mm.
Um, I went to Smart and Final, which is like a store that you go to where I don't know where you live, but it's
Nashville.
like a Nashville. So it's kind of like, I don't know if it's cash and carry or not dollar store, but it's one of those discount stores like Costco or whatever.
Okay.
Mhm.
Okay. So I go to this place called Smart and Final, and here I'm still on the heels of reading, that Nurse Maggie's message, right? I've
Mhm.
got that
Right.
beautiful, beautiful giving to other people feeling inside, and make a difference, be kind. I've got that, in my soul.
Mhm.
I went for like 3 items. I had a big basket. I wound up with $300 worth of stuff. Okay, what else is new? But
Right.
Mhm.
I go, my mom, we met there. We had double masks, and we're like, this is it before the holiday. We're done going out. And my mom was in another aisle checking out, and I go to check out, and my husband had taken the credit card I wanted to use out of my wallet, and I didn't make a transfer from an account.
Right.
So I wanted to write a check. Okay, so I know this sounds crazy, but I had to write a check. So I write a check. Well, the new checkbook that I got doesn't have my address on there because I had opted not to put my address on there. And they said,
Oh,
well,
Sure.
you can't take this check. So I'm standing there, and I noticed that the man beside me was getting a little antsy. I noticed he had $100 bill in his hand, and one item he had, those little coffee creamers in a big
Oh
box.
yeah.
That's
Yeah.
all he had. Now, if I had seen him, if I was not already starting to get rung up, I would have said, "Go in front of me," no big
right.
deal.
Mhm.
But so I'm writing this check, and she says, "We can't take this." And I said, "Oh God. Well, all right, then fine. Then I'll write a check from another account." So I do that, and this was about a 5-minute ordeal.
Mhm.
And my heart was racing. I
Right.
Mhm.
felt so guilty for the people there. There were 4 people in line, and this man is like hovering over me,
Oh gee.
and he's got his cash and his coffee. And we were done, and I looked at him and I said, "I am so sorry." And he looked at me, and you're not going to believe what he said. He said, "You know, you could have used this cash, and it would have
Jeez.
taken care of everything.
Oh,
You really." And then he said, "You really inconvenienced a lot of people in this
oh
line."
Are you kidding me?
Just like that, just like that, with that kind of energy. And it was like it. And I said, and I looked at him and I went, "Really,
yeah.
really?"
Really?
And I said, "I just apologized.
Apologize to you.
Right.
You
I just
knew
said I'm
this.
sorry." I said, "That's what you." I went, "Wow." I said, "You know what I'm going to do?" And this is so psycho. And this is why it's like, am I going through menopause? Because I was freaking out. So I said, "You know what I'm going to do? I am going to go out of my way to help a stranger today. I'm going to do something really, really kind to someone that I don't know in honor of you and that response.
Oh, I
That's
think
what that's
That's
what
the
I'm thinking.
that's
perfect
a perfect
response.
response. Yeah.
Okay. So, but then the lady behind him looked at me and goes, you're not right.
She
And I
said that
went,
to you? Oh,
and I
They're
she
went,
getting ganged up on.
and then I went, excuse me?
oh,
And
gee.
she goes, when you come to these places and one card doesn't work, you should have a backup card that does.
Jeez. I didn't know there was a rule book for shopping.
No, they need to explain that.
They need some
Really?
Like
meditation.
basically the
Yes,
whole
really.
line was ganging up on
Oh
you.
my
I
God.
literally, and so what happens? I burst into
Oh,
tears.
I would have
Oh,
too. I totally would have.
I
I'm so
started to
emotional. I
cry.
would have.
I started to cry. And I
Yeah.
said, oh my God. And I walked out and I went in the parking lot and my mom goes, what's wrong? And I said, Mom, they were so mean. I feel so horrible. And I cried for 15 minutes.
Oh,
oh,
I would have
I,
cried. I would have
I
cried
cried down
too.
the freeway and I'm going, why are people so mean?
Yeah.
There's so much anger in the world. And I kept thinking about the nurse that was singing to the guy, and I'm going, that's what I
Yes.
was. And I thought to myself, because I really wanted, what I wanted to say.
Oh, I
I,
know.
and I passed by the guy in the parking lot. I passed by the woman in the parking lot. I wanted to roll down my window, and I could have,
Oh,
and I
I
didn't.
know.
But I let it out, and I got on the freeway and I started praying and I said, oh God, remove my sadness, help those people, and let me I don't even know, just take this away from me because it really affected me today. But
Sure.
normally these things haven't affected me, and I'm like, God,
That kind of does affect me.
no,
I'm a real
that's.
sensitive person, so I
I'm
think
so
that would have bothered
sensitive.
me. Oh, I
And I
am.
think people are just so quick to fight now instead
Yeah,
of showing kindness, which I'm like you. I'm always like, okay, maybe they're going through something I know nothing
right.
about.
Yes.
Maybe,
I
Yes.
mean,
you know.
yeah. No,
Hmm.
but you know what it's like to like be behind someone that's writing a check at the market. You go, oh
Yeah.
God, you're writing a check. Inside,
Yeah.
but inside you don't say anything.
Right. You don't,
No.
and especially
You
if they
don't.
apologize and say,
Oh
I'm
my God, they
Oh,
apologize for sure.
I couldn't believe that he. And I thought to myself, look at what we're living in right now. Things are so hard right now, and that he would be like that. And I thought to myself, oh boy, oh God, if he's married, God help his wife.
I know.
He's
I know.
whatever, and I'm just like, go. So it took me, I'm going to say, you guys, and I'm serious, it took me a good hour. It took me an hour to really let it go.
Uh-huh.
But it's just interesting today. I'm thinking, wow, there's I got some underlying stuff in here right now that I guess I'm not really feeling. Maybe I feel more scared about COVID than I am talking about, or maybe because
Yeah.
my mom said to me, she goes, you shouldn't really be crying like that about it. Like, why are
I
you
would
just,
have.
well, thank
I
God
would
I'm
have
not
cried.
alone.
Yeah, I would have
no,
cried.
I agree with you. And I think all of our emotions are just on our fingertips right now because,
Yeah,
you're in lockdown or you're voluntarily locked down. And then you see all these people who aren't wearing their masks and you're saying, don't you care if somebody else gets sick?
I
Like if
know.
you,
I
and so
know.
that
And I think that
compassionate component it seems to be vacant.
I
Mhm.
also think that right now we're very into that, like the right thing, the wrong thing,
Yeah.
the right side, the left side, the this, the
Mhm.
that. So we're quick to go, but I did feel ganged up on, and because I'm a people pleaser, so me
Mhm.
holding somebody up, that's not my jam. I'm just like, go in front of me. What can I do to help you? So when I
Mhm.
was on the opposite end of that, I freaked out. Anyway, I just shared that story because I think that, I don't know why I shared it.
Well, that's okay.
My mind.
I think,
It's kind of to
yeah.
say, there are wonderful people like Maggie who touch your heart. And then
Yes.
you're like, I don't understand how another person could not feel
Yes.
compassion. It's like,
Yeah.
Yes. But
what
it
Mhm.
did you
exists.
get out of that by ganging up on you? What did you?
Right. Right.
Yeah. I mean, I feel so badly. Colleen knows this story. We live in the same neighborhood and it was Halloween. I mean, I was an elementary school teacher. I taught kindergarten. I've been around kids,
Yes. Yes.
and it's Halloween and my husband and I made like a candy chute to go down our steps so the candy would drop out at the bottom.
Fun.
And Tennessee, where we are, people are not social distancing as they should. So we
Oh,
we are keeping up at the steps. And so we're dropping candy, and most of the kids have been wonderful, very polite. And I had a political sign in my yard, and this like 13-year-old boy comes up with a bunch of kids, and he said he knew who I was voting for. And he said, "Who are you voting for?" And then he said, "Because if you're voting for, I can't take your candy." I lost it. I said, "Well, then go." I
Oh, good.
I said, "Then go." And my
Go.
husband was like, "Huh?"
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I said, "Go. Leave the candy for someone else."
Good.
But then you question the whole
And then-
upbringing of
but
parents.
I
And,
did, but
and
I felt bad about that. I felt bad yelling at that kid.
Yeah.
Don't
That
feel
you
bad
said
about
I
it.
did,
felt bad.
even though he was a smart aleck and everything. I
Yeah.
felt bad, So
Oh,
it's
boy.
just like it, like Colleen said, it's like all these emotions are all over the
Yeah.
place. But I would
Yeah.
not do that in a supermarket to someone.
No,
No
no,
way.
someone feels so
No.
horrible. But sometimes, I've learned to zip it. I've learned
Mhm.
to keep my mouth shut. That's a big deal for me. And like being married to my husband, who is very quiet, and I'm very loud. I've learned from him to listen. If we're in an argument or we have a disagreement, that it's not just my way or the highway. I have to. It's not fair that I have to listen to what he has to say. And it really taught me. He's taught me that. So I've also learned that I don't have to say everything that I feel, and I don't always have to give my opinion. So I have to zip it. That's hard to do.
Mhm.
Yes. And wait till one of your daughters gets engaged. And then you have to sit back and let someone else in when they need to be. Yes. My daughter got engaged last year, and it's still, I sit there and go, I'll take care of her. No, fine. You're going to do it now. I mean, talk about zipping it. Like I have to literally sew it. Yeah. I have to sew it shut.
That's funny.
I just go, okay, your journey, but it's hard. But yeah, sometimes it's just not worth speaking up. It's not worth the drama or the conflict.
No.
But for some people, they're so unhappy. They're just so
And they're
unhappy.
used to doing it. They're so.
Yeah.
He's probably honking at people down the street. He's probably yelling at when he gets home. If he owns a business, he's probably yelling at his employees. That's who he is. You don't say that kind of stuff if you're not that kind of person. Sorry.
Yeah.
Even if you're not having a good day. If I'm having a crappy day, I don't sit there and try to hurt someone else.
Yeah. That's
I probably just eat, donuts.
Yes.
I mean,
I'll open every
then you're
wrapper
hurting
in your
yourself.
mouth bites.
Right. That's a whole other story. But
Right?
Yeah.
it's just
And I wonder if he would have done that if you had been a male also. I wonder if
exactly. I wonder. Oh, but that's where I had to zip it, because I didn't want to embarrass myself. I've never gotten into an argument with someone at a grocery store. I mean, that's just ridiculous.
And then someone has a camera and Carnie Wilson.
Oh, right.
I know, because
Exactly.
you being well known.
Even
right.
with the mask.
Can you imagine?
Like,
well, see, because I know that, because I am Miss Potty Mouth. I am like a sailor. I swear like a sailor. Yeah. So I wanted to go off on him, and I really wanted to, but I cried.
It still affected you. But it still affected you, and it's affecting you even now.
Yeah.
But you know what? This is the kind of thing where when something like this happens, where you feel really embarrassed, or you feel like you've been violated, or you feel you've been hurt, those are the times when I reflect back, like I process it, and then later on I go, I have to figure out something to do with those feelings.
Right.
I have to put it somewhere, and I don't want to put it on myself. I've got to turn it into a positive. And I'm not sure it's doing this interview.
Oh,
You know what I mean?
That's just letting it out.
The gift of today was talking with you guys.
Oh,
That's what was the gift after that.
Thank you. Gosh.
Yeah.
But sometimes you just have to talk to someone else about what's going on and get that out.
Yeah.
And I also think, at 25, we would have been much quicker to turn around and go, excuse me, what is your problem? And now it's like, not worth
you would have said more. You would have said more.
Bridget knows that I probably would have
said
being
I would have been escorted out of the store at that moment. Although I was already leaving, but it would have been a lot worse.
You would have had security along with you, probably.
So it is kind of nice to be a little older, a little more mellow, and be like, I'm so glad I'm not you. or
Yeah.
anyone within your
Yes.
circle.
Yes.
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 It
But
is.
now I can say that. At that moment, I was like,
Oh, I'm
God.
totally like that.
You know,
Yeah. I'm
I
totally
really,
like, I should have said this. I think of something
yeah,
an hour later. Yeah.
Well, it's the
I know,
Monday morning
Yes.
quarterback. I should have done this, and this. But you know,
Yes. Yeah.
one of the things that I was really shocked by is that you weren't chosen as one of the talk co-hosts, because I think
yeah.
you're amazing on that show. And
Thank
if
you.
I had any say in it,
Yeah.
Gilbert, you would have been on there. I mean, is there still do you still guest on there sometimes?
You know, they haven't had me back this season, and it's a very big disappointment. And I don't, it's kind of this, the people at the upper people, whatever you want to call them. I know the show, all the ladies, and even the producers. We've had a 10-year relationship, and I was always the girlfriend that they would have sex with, but wouldn't give me the ring.
Mm-hmm.
So I have been in that position, and I would say, well, at least I'm getting laid.
I've never
That's my
heard it like that.
analogy.
That's
The
hilarious.
problem is it's been a little dry lately. So
Yes.
that's really vile. Sorry. But the thing is,
No, but
It is
you're allowed
okay.
to be a little upset.
That's
that's
okay.
my analogy for it. But the truth is that, they have 2 hosts to hire. We don't know what's going to happen. And they constantly get their little tweets and their little Instagram, and people are they're rooting for me. And there's a good amount of people doing that. But I can't, that's something that I really had to give up. I have wanted it. This is the 4th time that I have said, okay, is it going to happen this time? Is it going to happen this time? And there is another reason to kind of, do a self check. Am I too old? Am I too fat? Am I not smart enough? That's my go-to. I'm too old. I'm too fat. I'm not smart enough.
No.
But that's the voice that talks to me.
Right.
And that's the same voice that when there's, the viewers and listeners out there that go, well, I know that I'm really good at, designing clothes, but I could never do that because I'm not good enough. I can't do that. That's the voice that I have to squash.
Mm-hmm.
And that takes effort.
Mm-hmm.
That takes effort. That takes prayer. That takes action.
Mm-hmm.
And the action is, maybe it's an action of just saying, okay, it's not meant to be. Or if it is meant to be, it will happen. What can I do?
Mm-hmm.
And but the hardest part about this, I have to say, the hardest part about it is having people every single day say to me, why aren't you on the talk? Why aren't you on the talk?
Sorry, I shouldn't have thought of it.
It's okay. But that's the hardest part, because it's kind of like, here's this big open wound. Here's some salt. Here's some salt.
Yeah.
And it's so hard.
Oh.
What's my answer? I don't
If
know.
you don't know the answer, you don't know the answer.
What do
Yeah.
I can't say they're dumb, they're wrong, they're,
Yeah. We'll say that, Colleen.
We will.
We'll say that.
Tweet.
Yeah.
We will tweet to whoever the powers that be.
Yeah.
It's like, I just keep thinking, if this is the 4th time, and it's been 10 years, I'm on this current and I'm swimming upstream. How long am I going to, do this and be disappointed each time? Who knows? Watch. Maybe the time I actually go, okay, whatever happens, happens. I truly give this up. Maybe it'll come happen.
Yeah.
Well, there are 2 spots open.
Yeah.
I know, that's right. And you know what? Maybe something better is coming. I want my own cooking show. I'd rather have my own cooking show. I love the talk. Don't get me wrong. I'm ready to start tomorrow.
Mm-hmm.
But
Right.
I would love to do my own cooking show. So,
Yeah.
That was my next question about the Food Network, why they haven't gotten in touch with you for cheesecakes.
Right.
Yes.
Well,
yeah.
we're pitching right now. So
I would love
see
that.
what happens.
You posted a picture of was it a cheesecake the other? Oh my God.
Yeah.
It was just so pretty. And then you cut 2 little pieces and I was like,
no, I can't even. I just wrote the recipe out and I gave it to this. She's also on Instagram. Her name is Neurotic Mom.
Oh,
I think her name is Amy, and she's so sweet, and she's got a lot of followers, and she's this amazing baker. Her cakes, I study them. I watch her videos. I love it. And she said that she wanted to bake with me one day. So we know we're going to bake together. I don't know when that is, but I just gave her the recipe. She's going to make the cheesecake and post it. I'm dying. I can't even handle it. I'm so excited. Hers will look much prettier though.
You may be too busy to be on the talk. You may be having your own Food Network, and Love Bites might be too busy. By the time they come around, you could be, sorry.
Like, I'm sorry.
Right. You never want to wish, my mom always says, you never know what's around the corner.
It's true.
You just don't know, it's like, but you just got to keep walking to that corner. Don't stop. Just go. Go see what's behind the door.
I love that. I mean,
that's so true. And that kind of leads into what's next, but you have so many potentials up in the air right now.
A lot.
And we love hearing that, because 50 is not the end of a career, of a life, of anything. You've got another chapter.
For a lot of people. Age has nothing to do with it at all.
Yeah.
I mean, am I going to grow to be 5'7"? Am I going to run a 10, whatever marathon? No. No. I mean, I can't get rid of my chin hair. I don't know what to say. It's
we were just talking.
We were talking to someone about that today.
Come on, tell me, because mine's bad.
I mean, she was
just like bioidenticals. Basically, she was saying when your estrogen and your progesterone go down, your testosterone is still up.
Your androgens go up, and it produces hair.
Your chin hair in places.
Yeah. I had to get a 5 o'clock shadow.
Yeah.
I'm not kidding.
Oh, I know. Are you
unfortunately, we understand that.
Mutant long one just coming out up my neck.
If I let this grow out, it would be frightening.
Yeah.
I've got it here and here, but my daughter, my Lucy, my 11-year-old, she's so funny. Sometimes when I forget to shave it, she goes, Mom, I find it comforting. When you hug me and it scratches my arm, I find it comforting. I'm like, I love you so much, Lucy.
Like a blankie or something. It's her blankie.
She finds it comforting.
Well, there you go. You're in quarantine. Just let it go.
It's No Shave November. Yeah.
There you go. Oh, but
oh God.
Can you imagine? My daughter just walks up and pulls it right out.
Oh, yes. She pulls it.
I'm like, warning. And she's like, done, Mom. Don't worry about it.
The problem is, which hair would she choose? She has a plethora.
Right. I usually have one I miss. And it just grows, and then you're like, ow. Yeah, it's definitely, we were questioning this dermatologist a lot, because we were like, we don't understand. She goes, it could be worse. It could be like men, where it grows in their ears.
Right.
In their, yes.
Well, I did laser, and that actually was good. And I did it 6 times, and it really helped. But now it's growing back more. So I wonder.
Oh.
And now there's a few gray ones. I can't even get into it.
Every listener can relate to that.
Yes, our listeners relate. They understand.
Yes. And we relate. So there you go.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. So you've got shows that you're auditioning for. That's exciting. And is that all up in the air until COVID is over? Or?
I don't know. I think, well, no, they're doing some in production. There's one show that I'm also up for as a judge, but that's for next year in April. They haven't told me if I've gotten it yet, but the cooking show, I don't know, maybe that'll be around the same time. We'll see. There's always a lot of irons in the fire. And then, of course, we were supposed to do this big tour, Wilson Phillips, this year. And then now it was supposed to be for next year, but I think it's going to be 2022. So
wow. Okay.
We'll see about that.
I wonder how.
Yeah. I mean, we might go out on a different tour at the end of the year next year, depending on vaccine and the whole thing. But I don't know. It really, it has to be, those big gatherings, the biggest nightmare of all is that. So it's just, it's really, really, it's just too depressing to think about. It's really, that's something that it hurts so bad to not be able to do that. It's really awful. And it's very hard for me. I mean, I'm in the entertainment business, and it's a struggle. It's a struggle. But but I do have I filmed some commercials in September, and they air in April, and you'll see them. They'll be all over. It's a huge company, and it's really fun and really great. And you'll see it, and I'm really excited about it. Oh yeah. So I can't say what it is, but it's coming, and it's gonna be great. And that's in April. So I think, I'm just kind of like I do always, just putting it out there and seeing what, I mean, I don't have an education. I can't fall back on certain things. You know what I mean? I just go with what interests me and what I have a passion for. And that's voiceovers. It's, TV work, and it's singing. And also I'm considering singing and maybe doing a little recording with my daughters. We talked about making a little, maybe an EP, 4 or 5 songs together. We'll see if that happens.
Oh, that's
That would be awesome.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Oh.
I know I'm forgetting.
You sure have a lot of personality, because I was like, sometimes the education, if you don't know how to put it the right way, it doesn't matter. Yeah.
Formal education isn't always.
It isn't always what it's cracked up to be. Yeah.
Well, and look at, it's so hard. There's so many unemployed people right now. It's just so heartbreaking.
It is.
We just all have to be patient. We just have to be patient, and it will come back, and we will. It's just this horrible couple of years of our lives, and and maybe it isn't even horrible for a lot of people. There's a lot of great things that have come out of this. You know what I mean? I mean, I've never realized what's so important.
Right.
Absolutely.
Right.
Stuff too is just stuff too.
Yes.
And a lot of us have gotten our children to come home who had already.
I was really struggling. I was struggling with empty nest, and I got them both back for a while.
Good.
But they've gone back, but we'll get them back and longer. Like, they're both like, well, we're going to come in early at Christmas, and we're going to quarantine so that my mother-in-law can be here. And so I was like, okay, I get them back. Yay. Because that's hard. I really struggled with empty nest. I really did. And now I'm like,
thought about that for a
It is hard. You've survived the teenage years, and you're like, I survived them. And then they just leave. And you're like, but I earned something here. Like, I survived the teenage years. And they do come back, I think, especially girls. I mean, you are close with your son, Bridget, of course, too. But there's something about girls. They're just always kind of revolving around you and
Oh yeah.
Calling you. And
Saturday, my daughter's coming in, and I'm so excited. I'm like, yay.
Well, we are going to make sure that one of these we're doing a 10 days of holiday giveaways on the show. So I'm going to make sure one of these bags is in one of the gifts. So
good.
I bought a bunch. So
thank you. That's so great. I appreciate that. Yeah.
Absolutely, because we want to share it as well with everyone.
Well, all we have is really right now the website. Grocery was put on hold, so that's sad. So all we have is the website, and people can go and order it, and I'm grateful, and they won't be disappointed. They'll love it.
Definitely not. I can attest, because I've been eating them all day. So
I
don't have as much guilt. One opened.
Right.
But I love that.
Don't forget we're going to have sugar-free, and I got my gluten-free cookie coming. It's the chocolate chip, and we've got a sugar-free coming. It's an all-natural, low glycemic, no refined sugar. That people have been asking about that. So I think that's really important too.
So,
that's absolutely, because a lot of us we just did an episode on blood sugars for women in midlife. So absolutely, it's really important.
Very important. Yep. Found a great substitute.
Oh, wow. Awesome. Well, we'll have to try those.
And we'll put a link on our show notes too. And when we blast this, we'll put a link to the website. Yes.
And please come back when this is over and we know a little bit more about what you booked and what you didn't.
And what she booked and what she had to turn down because she was
exactly.
Yes.
Yeah. I love it. Yeah. It's always emotion.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Which is awesome and good for you.
Yes. And thank you. Yes.
Thank you for having me. And I think the last thing I want to say is I just hope that everybody is grateful for what they have in their lives today, and not always what they're trying to get, but that to be happy with what they have. And that's a big one for me personally. I really try to do that. So that's what I want to leave with today,
Absolutely. Thank you for sharing that.
Thank you so much.
Thanks for sharing that.
Wow. I am so excited that we had the opportunity to talk to Carnie. I mean, I felt like we just had like a great big conversation with a good friend of ours and talked about things that we were going through and let some emotions out, but, got some things to talk about, learned some stuff. And I just felt like
it was very cathartic.
It was. And we get so much out of this. Colleen and I've said this, that I'm starting to feel like guilty that I'm getting all this free therapy and talk and everything. I'm like, all I had to do was buy the equipment, and now I'm getting this, hour after hour of this. So it was just wonderful.
And we are so grateful that we get to meet everybody that comes on the show, because we learn every time. We share, hopefully, conversations where you feel like you were just sitting at the table with us, chatting away for the last hour and a half. So
yes, yeah. And I feel guilty because I know she's got 2 daughters that what need
I know.
her.
I always feel bad when we're like,
yes.
I'm like, how much time is too much time that we're taking? Because we don't. When you never want to be the people where they get off and they go, oh gosh, you're on forever.
Yes, like that. Don't talk to them. They wouldn't let me off. They
right
wouldn't
now.
quit talking
But
to me.
she didn't. She was so generous with her time.
She was. Yes.
So
yeah.
Thank you, Carnie Wilson. We appreciate it. Guys, check out her cookies and the bakery. It's Love Bites by Carnie. I have the classic shortbread cookies, and we are going to be putting one of those in the bags for our giveaways, because they're just good and you need to check them out. So we'll have all the links in the show notes. Please follow us on all forms of Instagram, and you can follow Love Bites by Carnie as well, because I'm sure they're on social media as well.
Yeah. So, and she's got a great Instagram. Oh, you said that. You just said that. Great Instagram.
No, that's fine.
Okay. I just am like in my head thinking.
You're like, ooh, it's a pretty Instagram. Yes. She does. She can also follow her on Instagram, because she shows some great recipes and shares a lot of her thoughts and feelings. So if you want to do that, also follow her. Have a great week, guys. It's the holidays. Try to get outside on your porch and enjoy it.
Yes. Yeah. Wherever you can.
Yeah.
Social distancing. Yeah.
Go enjoy some Christmas lights, and we will talk to you soon.
Bye.